She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy Gazpacho.
Forbes can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Advice, did you know that Arsenal died?
These got me buzzing.
Up the TOFFEES. It's hard to up them anyway.
I'm gonna comment on that.
Welcome back to another episode of Footy with the Boys, previewing week 2 of the Premier League and getting you guys updates on the US men's national team. What a beautiful pick that is, and always will be there, Pochettino with some bald Eagles. We'll get into some big news to start us off, then get into our Gunners and Toffees updates that been Arsenal and Everton. Get into the featured matchup, some Premier League rundown, get you ready for each of the games this weekend. Get into the US men's national team corner as always, and then end it out with our lock of the week competition with our new predictions for week 2 and the results of week 1. Boys, let's start with the big news. None other than the Vardy party starting back up week 1 of the Premier League. And the man, he says 1, you 0, making fun of the Tottenham fans. After he scores a leveler, Tottenham and Leicester City draw this one. Nick, I'll give it to you because I'm sure this was an enjoying watch. Jamie Vardy trolls the shit out of Tottenham. Tottenham look like they should have absolutely won this one. Don't finish a lot of chances. And then second half, Leicester just score their chance. And it's a draw for Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham here. What were you seeing here? And hey, it's Spurs, lad.
Spursy a bit in it. Listen, Tottenham don't look now, but I've won like 4 games in the last 15 Premier League games. They are not looking too good. Big Ange, we're always gonna have a go, mate. Like he's just always saying that we're gonna be on the front foot. Can't keep a clean sheet versus newly promoted Leicester and 47-year-old Jamie Vardy. Very interesting. The goal comes from the right back, not the $70 million striker you just signed. Very interesting. And last year's, match week 6 Premier League champions dropped points in the opening week. No other Big Six side dropped points. If you want to say Chelsea, Big Six adjacent. So, it's not great. It is not looking good for them Spurs fans. They didn't finish the chances that they should have, which you think with a brand new big money striker, they should be able to. Didn't see much of that. It was raining, but I mean, still, it's a Prem. And this backline, who I think on paper is probably a top 3 or 4 backline in the league with Romero and Van de Ven in the middle, and then Udogie and Porro on the outside back, concede versus a newly promoted side, which, I mean, their 10 was like a rotational guy at Brighton last year. That is not the most potent attack, I don't think. I like Mavdidi or whatever, but I don't think he started. So, listen, it's a bad start to the Premier League. I saw a bold take somewhere on Twitter. Ange is out by January. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just, I bookmarked it.
You bookmarked it. Ange not in the fine form that he was at the start of last season. And you'd like to say, I mean, at least Chelsea did play Manchester City, so you'd understand top 6 team dropping points there. This one against Leicester City that, for a majority of this game, looked like they were probably a prime relegation candidate, and then come on and score a goal. And listen, all it took was that Red Bull at halftime for Jamie Vardy to come out and just ruin Tottenham's season the first weekend. Mike, going over to kind of your interest here, Barcelona. Some interesting headlines coming out today regarding them. The guy Gundogan, potential reunion with Manchester City, and you'd think they'd get some type of fee. The report is that he might leave on a free transfer out of bankrupt FC Barcelona out here. Leaving on a free transfer is ridiculous, but it's even more ridiculous is that while this talk is going on about how, listen, it'll just help the wage bill to get him out for free, they're also reaching out to AC Milan about Rafael Leao, who has a $100 million evaluation. What's going on here with Barcelona, and where is Deco bringing this club? Because I'm not sure if he understands math, but when you're broke and you're selling people for free or getting rid of people for free and then going after $100 million man, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know what the hell's going on, man. I saw that Barcelona reached out to Man City about offloading Gundogan, and then Man City's like, can you pay us for Ferran Torres, who we bought 3 years ago? So they're trying to collect dues now. We have no money. This is awful. I like Gundogan a lot. I was hyped that he was coming to Barcelona after he won everything with Man City. And he played really well for us. I think he still has a spot in the midfield, especially with the injury problems we've been having. I think Hansi Flick wants him. He said good things about him. So he should be staying, but his contract is huge. He makes a lot on his wages, and Barcelona can't afford to pay him, and apparently are focusing on the attack rather than shoring up our midfield. So I'm not really sure. Rafael Leao, that's crazy. I think he's going to cost way too much money for what Barcelona has currently. I thought we were dead set on Nico Williams. I guess that's not happening. The state of the club, although good, I think we have a good team, is still shit because financially they have not solved any of those problems. Yes.
My favorite part about this story was that it was reported. I saw one tweet about it from a couple people, but like it was reported that they reached out to Man City of doing a Gundogan Rodri swap.
Oh yeah, Rodri swap. Yeah.
And then that's when Man City was like, no, and you still owe us money. Like, where's the bag? That's insane.
No, we'll take him for free, and you owe us money actually, so you'll be paying us to take him.
Love it.
Just wild. The finances at Barcelona are just ridiculous. But boy, the La Masia really saves them. Just have an incredible academy, and it can absolutely unravel all the financial wrongdoings. Not all of them. They did lose Messi, but good God, Barcelona, figure out your shit here. Speaking of a team that has kind of figured it out. Actually, two teams that have figured out. We move into the Premier League. And we start with the Gunners. Certainly a team that has figured it out in the past few years. And they will be facing off in a big matchup, Nick, against Aston Villa, who have certainly figured it out in the last year with former Arsenal coach or manager Unai Emery. Good evening. Nick, it's not been smooth sailing for Arsenal recently against Aston Villa. What do you want to make sure you see here so that Arsenal do get something out of this? Because this is a high-powered matchup as of the last year and a half.
Listen, it's not getting something out of this. It's getting 3 points out of this. A draw, even at Villa Park, is not acceptable. It's boom or bust for Arsenal this year. You have to win the league, in my opinion. Anything less will be a disappointment. I don't think that's been entirely true the past 2 years, although it is disappointing not to win last year. But from the onset, the expectation is to win the league. So the expectation in every game should be to pick up 3 points, even against a good and bordering on very good Aston Villa team that did finish in the top 4 last year. So big game away, 0 out of 6 points from them last year. It's why we lost the league. There was a bit of controversy when we played the first time with some of the refs, but an important one nonetheless. Mikel Merino still nowhere to be found, so it looks like it'll probably be that midfield of Partey, Rice, and Odegaard again. The Partey thing, as you guys know, makes me nervous. I think this is the week that Zinchenko officially takes a seat, and we are done with Zinchenko at left back. I think Timber showed that he could have a good 45 when he came on, and hopefully he starts now. Or Calafiori is up to speed now after his 3rd week at the club. So one or the other. I do think we need one of the substitutions to feel confident. If we just have Zinchenko or just have Partey, I think we'll be okay. Because you guys know it. I am loving our front line right now. I'm loving Odegaard. I'm loving Rice. I mean, hell, 5 of our players just got into the PFA Team of the Year with Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Odegaard, and Rice. Shout out to the boys. So big game. Bigger story lately on Twitter has been, is Unai Emery a better manager than Mikel Arteta? I say it in jest, because of course not. But do any of you want to present the counter argument? Unai Emery, when he left the team, Arsenal's in 14th. Arteta comes in, we finish 8th and win the FA Cup. I think some people are very short-sighted, but am I crazy to think it's an absolute no-brainer that Arteta's the superior manager?
I did see that was posed by Arsenal Fan TV, which
ridiculous.
interesting by them. Mike, what were you about to say?
Well, Unai's done it in Spain and England. Mikel can only.
What has he done in England?
He's got to prove it in another league.
Champions
League.
That's
what he's got to do. He's got to leave and go manage Barcelona. That's the only solution.
You take Unai? No way.
No, I take Mikel.
You cock.
Yeah, I think anybody would take Mikel. I think the only argument you could say is that Unai Emery in other teams has won trophies like the Europa League. But, I mean, you could say he also brought Aston Villa, a smaller team, to a Champions League spot. But what Mikel Arteta's done at Arsenal, there's a big difference than pulling them into 4th place for 1 year and becoming what Arsenal are, which are a perennial title contender, and going head-to-head with City is crazy from where Arsenal were about 4 years ago.
Seriously.
That is a crazy upgrade.
People forget the Mustafi Socrates dark days with Callum Chambers in the wings waiting. Like it is, people forget. And listen, like Unai is not a team builder. He's a good coach, but he's not a team builder. Arteta has built a team. He's made an identity for this team, and Unai's found his level. Top 4 contending sides. He will do good things with those sides. Will never be the elite of the elite, but a very good manager. So I think Arteta has a chance to be amongst the elite of the elite, if not there already. Arsenal Fan TV, what are we doing, guys? This is why they make fun of us on Twitter, because you guys' dumbass comments.
Arsenal Twitter, I will say, is one of the most wild ones. Chelsea, I think, still takes the cake, but
Chelsea's nuts.
Man, Arsenal does have some wild takes I see on there. Mike, some maybe not as wild takes, but maybe some more just depressing takes come from Everton Twitter. We'll be going up against Tottenham at Tottenham this week. And I've seen, honestly, some Tottenham fans maybe not understanding what happened against Brighton, because they're saying, oh, great, when you go against a Sean Dyche low block, we're screwed. Mike, they drew against Leicester, and we can talk about how they underperformed. But Everton, in a moment of need, make a signing. And that signing is Begovic, a second-string goalkeeper who is 37. The one position I would say that Everton is A-okay in. What can Everton do in this one? Because Tottenham haven't looked amazing against a Leicester City squad that looked less than amazing. Is there a chance for a point here? And do we need to see the new signings? Obviously, we did see one of them in a U21 game in Lindstrom, and Beto joined him. And I guess he did not play well in that one. What do you want to see out of this one?
Oh, he balled out, dude. 2 goals and an assist from big man Beto today.
Really?
Everton Instagram, chaotic. People are calling for Beto to start. They're saying how much better he is. The DCL must start. We got to start Beto next game. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? He's playing against U21s. These are children that he's playing against. We've seen him on the Premier League level. That is certainly not the answer or recipe for success against Tottenham. But I don't know if there is a recipe for success. This is not a great matchup coming off of Brighton. We could have used an Ipswich or a Southampton, something to rebound with. Instead, we're going against Tottenham. Not feeling great. I think low block's the only bet, but
Our defense, though.
Last week. Our defense
right back.
Shit.
Who's the center backs?
I don't know. Seamus Coleman, if he's healthy, he had picked up a knock, and then Jake O'Brien, hopefully. I'd like to see him, unless Jared Brathwaite is ready to go.
Coleman, hopefully.
That is
the state of the club.
I think if Braithwaite's injured, just play him anyways, because an injured Braithwaite is better than a fully healthy Michael Keane.
Did you guys see the Braithwaite thing?
No, what is the news?
That Liverpool submitted $60 million offer.
Is that real?
No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I saw it somewhere.
I didn't see that.
He would go to Liverpool, the crosstown rival. That seems why would we do business
If we
with them?
sold
But
him for 60 to Liverpool, I'd be kind of pissed.
You wouldn't take 60 for Braithwaite?
60's good, but I think we can get more.
From whom?
Manchester
I don't even
United.
think we need to sell him. I think he's one of our only hopes of even staying in the Premier League, and that's worth more than 60 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. 60 million
'Cause-
feels like a solid deal.
Yeah,
If
but
we
we just saw what
spend
our defense was without
60
him.
million now, though. We're not going to reinvest any of that into players.
With a week and a half.
Right.
Yeah, well, you got points deducted last year. Maybe if you have a surplus, you get points added. You know?
Yeah, maybe we can make an appeal. Hey guys, you remember those points you took away last season? Let's get them back. Those will be our only points this season here. But yeah, certainly a tough one. And Tottenham drawing against Leicester, not great for mentality going into this one, because they're certainly going to want to pick up the 3 points in this one. And then poor little Everton is going to need to take it all.
Chance, dude. That's all we need. 14%.
Chance. That's high.
What was
It might be
Leicester's?
high there.
Yeah, it could have been more than 14 for Leicester. Away day draw, boys. This is Everton City. Just low block on an away day. Shit club you're going up against. Sneak out with a 0-0 draw.
Yeah. If only we had Jamie Vardy.
Jamie Vardy.
You have Beto.
We have our own Jamie Vardy. We have Beto.
I'm not seeing anything on the brand thing, by the way.
All right. Random Twitter guy got me again.
Fake news.
Yeah, Nick, if you guys do not know or are new to the pod, first of all, subscribe and like. But two, Nick is notoriously easily fooled by tweets about things. So if you want to tag the Twitter and say random shit, he will believe you.
Do you remember the Steve Kerr one to Chelsea?
Yeah, he believed a Steve Kerr to Chelsea.
Which was seconds.
Just absolutely absurd to even think that believable for a second. Boys, let's move forward to the team that Everton played last week, Brighton. They are high and flying so far. They go up against Manchester United, who also picked up 3 points in their first game versus Fulham, but maybe not so convincing. If, though, Manchester United come into this one, Brighton looked good against Everton, so we will somewhat preface it with that. If they come into this one and pull out a result, even if they look like shit again, I mean, are they just a team that knows how to win? Is that just kind of who they're going to be? It's going to look really fucking ugly, but they're going to pull out the same wins they did last year to get them another, I guess they're 8, so it's not really that impressive, but it's actually the worst in their history.
Yeah,
but
got some silverware.
Is it going to pull out results for them like it did last season, Mike?
No. And it's not going to against Brighton. Brighton's much better than Fulham. They're actually competent going forward, have some real talent up top, can score goals. Fulham didn't challenge them at all. I mean, Fulham looked shit. Man, you looked horrible in that game, but so did Fulham. I mean, I thought defensively they looked okay, but that midfield is beat. They didn't add any attackers. Adama Traore is still Adama Traore. I mean, fucking can't do anything with the ball except run with it. But Fulham aside, Brighton's a very good team. Man U did not convince me whatsoever. At Brighton, I think this is going to be a comfortable win.
Nick, Brighton has a lot of good attackers. Manchester United, Xerxes has been brought in, and I mean, is he needing to start after just one game where he gets a goal, or do you still try and ease him in as a new signing? And same with the Lick. Do you go with the Dutch duo brought in this summer?
I think you bring in both. I do expect them to get their full debuts, if I'm being honest, especially after Xerxes scores. I mean, the Bruno Fernandes false 9 experiment can be dead after week 1. That's fine. This entire summer, Flags called me out on it. I've just been trying to open my mind a little bit more to, I love the way Arsenal play football. I love the way the direction is going. I love, possession. I love holding the ball. I love all of that. But it's not the only way to win football games. And this is a team coming off an FA Cup victory. I think Mike saying this is going to be a comfortable win for Brighton is fucking crazy. That is an insane take. A comfortable win versus Manchester United, even at home. What has Brighton done? Beaten the worst team in the league? That's all they've done.
Whoa!
Shut up, Everton 3-0. Like, that is That is all we have done. I'm only talking about the stats. Take a look at the table. There is a worse team in the league currently. So I don't know. I think I'm just open to the possibility that maybe they're able to win games ugly and maybe that's sustainable. Are they playing good football? No, I'm not blind. I'm still watching it. It's not fun to watch. But at the end of the day, if you get 3 points, if you win silverware, which they have in the past 3 months, that means something to me. So I think that them finishing 8th last year was a result of, yes, horrible football, but also
The worst finish for
definitely
Manchester United ever.
yes, and I wouldn't want Ten Hag as my manager just because he plays ugly. Even if he wins a lot, it's not enjoyable to watch. But they did have so many injuries. Like, we can't just look over that. They're getting guys back. They have guys back. Rashford still looks horrible, so that's a real issue. Garnacho, the future of Argentina, looks like the future of Charlotte FC. I just think that there's not really, I don't know. I liked how Brighton looked. I took a shot at Everton. I apologize. I like how Brighton looked. I think this Huntelaar guy is a real manager. So if they're able to win ugly against Brighton, I'm just saying I'm open to the possibility that maybe this is who Man U is. Maybe they just win ugly games. Is that such a crazy thought?
I mean, first of all,
that's what they did last year, dude. They won ugly games into 8th place. That's what
I know,
Man U is.
but the injuries, there were so many injuries.
Okay, but what was the excuse in this game? He doesn't have.
They still got the same players.
No.
These players are still going to be injured. That's not going to change.
I think that if their players were healthy, they could have finished higher than 8th. They only finished 6 points off top 4. Let's not forget.
I mean, still the worst finish that Manchester United has ever had. So
I'm not advocating for good Manchester United. I just asked the question out there. Am I crazy?
Listen, let him know in the comments if he's crazy or not what you guys think on Manchester United, because they are a bit of an enigma. I will just say before we close out on this featured matchup, Everton lost to the best team in the Premier League. Listen, we're just looking at the table. We're just looking at the table.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
Everton's only lost. They've only lost 1 game this entire season, and it's been to the best statistical team in the Premier League. So, listen, if you're an Everton fan, it's only up from here, legitimately, and we'll see. We'll see if it actually is.
Buy low, baby. Buy low.
Buy low. We're a great stock to buy right now. Boys, let's run through the Premier League. We start with Wolves and Chelsea. This will be a big Pedro Neto return match. We'll see if he gets a start against his former team here. He is one of 59 million players up for selection there. Liverpool going up against Brentford. It'll be Arne Slot going up against Thomas Frank in a good manager matchup there. See if he can get the bees buzzing there. Palace and West Ham. I think it's going to be a sneaky good matchup there. West Ham certainly wanted to bounce back from their loss to Aston Villa with all the signings they've made. Bournemouth versus Newcastle. Bournemouth had a good finish to last season. Newcastle, no Europe this season to distract them. Hopefully they can kind of find their form that they did last season. Fulham and Leicester City going up against each other. Both these teams maybe looking for something to build off that first week. Fulham didn't look too great. Neither did Leicester, but they get a draw for Spurs. Manchester City versus Ipswich Town. That one has massacre written all over it. I hope I just jinxed it, and Ipswich Town wins.
Yeah. Come on, you.
Palmer, we need Palmer to pick a better team.
What's their mascot? Like
the Ipses.
I don't know.
The Ipses?
No.
It must be a horse, surely, right? I don't know. I'll have to look at
it. On their banner.
That's what's on their logo. So.
Oh, well, I wonder where
I don't know if they really have logos.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, we'll get back to Ipswich Town logo mascot afterwards. I know that's pressing. But finally, we end with the toilet bowl, which is Southampton Nottingham Forest. And if you watch that, you are a wild and sick person. Yeah, that's really the only way around that matchup. Boys, are there other matchups that you guys are wanting to watch here? Ones that stand out, Nick?
Yeah, I'm gonna be tuned into the Liverpool Brentford game. Again, you guys know me. I've stuck my claim in the ground. I think that Arne Slot ball is real. I like what he's doing with the personnel there. So it'll be interesting to see how they look against the well-managed side. Brentford always, plays good football. They don't have the best talent, but good managed side. So let's see how that works. If they are who I think they are, it should be a comfortable win. If it gets sketchy, maybe that's a red flag. And I'm always going to keep out on Fulham. Shout out to ESR. Only up from here, baby.
All right, Mike, which one do you got your eye on other than that Everton Tottenham matchup?
Palace West Ham. Kind of bullish on both of these teams. West Ham for their new manager and all their new signings. Tough match against Villa this past weekend. Just outclassed, I thought. And then Crystal Palace were one of the hottest teams last year towards the end of the season with Oliver Glasner coming in. I still like what they're doing. They lost some big players, but Eze's still there. Was unlucky not to score a worldie last week, called off for kind of some bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I think this will be a good matchup. I'm really not sure what the divide is between these two teams in level of quality. I think West Ham generally has the better players, but doesn't mean everything. It's at Crystal Palace. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
London
Crystal
Derby
Palace at home
It
is
is a
something.
derby
West
as
Ham,
well.
though, I think looked at times like they could have taken the lead versus Aston Villa, but we'll see what they can do here against Crystal Palace. I would say, boys, Wolves Chelsea is going to be a fun one to watch. Enzo Maresca, first game you go up against Manchester City. That's a pretty fucking tough first matchup. You're not getting a lot of great results out of that, no matter who you are. But this is kind of the real matchup of, hey, if you are who you say you are, you're a Pep disciple and you're going to change Chelsea Football Club. It starts here. It starts against a team like Wolves that are very beatable. You just took their best player, and you have about 50 other players for your selection, including now João Felix, who...
Oh, my God. We didn't even talk about João Felix.
That deal, boys. Let's take a moment. That's absolutely wild. That should be big news.
Stupidest thing ever.
They just took João Felix on a loan. He stunk it up, did not play that great, goes to Barca, did not play that great, and then they pay, what is it, like $45 million for João Felix on a 7-year deal for João Felix, who has not looked good for 7 years. Like, what in the hell is going on there? I mean, listen, if your money is being managed by Todd Bowley, you got to ask some questions because it might be all flooding into Chelsea Football Club right now.
Hey, rag on Barcelona all you want, but we look pretty good now, eh? We're not that dumb. We knew not to pay the price because he wasn't worth it. Showed glimpses last year, but couldn't put together an entire season like he hasn't been able to in a number of years. Right? Bad signing for Chelsea. Still don't know where he plays. Just another player in a really crowded lineup. Sure, he's talented. He's not going to get you that many goals, and goals are the issue. So it doesn't solve anything. It only adds problems and adds another person to your bill at the end of the month. And he's not a cheap one. So great business, Chelsea.
A higher paid player than Cole Palmer, $180K per week. Which
reported.
They said they could not sign Michael Olise because his wages would be higher than Cole Palmer, and they wanted to cut the wage bill down. What is this? It was rumored that this was to then get Conor Gallagher's deal across the line. And so they end up paying more for João Felix than they're getting for Conor Gallagher, who is their former captain and performed much better than João Felix. I don't know, Nick. I don't know what's going on. Do you?
It's the homegrown thing. That's the whole Gallagher thing. So it's pure profit for homegrown. João Felix is the classic, exactly what Mike said. He's always had glimpses. In fact, there was a $130 million transfer to Atletico based off of glimpses, and he showed it nonstop, but he's never been the guy. Guys, when he went to Chelsea the first time, didn't he get a red card in like 10 minutes and was out for like a month or something?
Yep.
So I don't know what they're doing. To be fair, is he better than Nico Jackson? Like maybe.
Is he? I don't
know. Maybe. So
Nico Jackson had 15 goals, as many as he missed.
I will say shout out
goals in the last 10 years.
Who knows? I will say shout out to Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports. They were like, Jamie, like, is he gonna be able to find his spot in the lineup? And he was like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to find his spot in the locker room. the state of Chelsea Football Club, I can't wait for like 4 years from now where they're all on inflated fees and still have 4 more years on their contracts and can't get rid of anyone. The club is a mess, boys.
So I heard also, actually, this is a perfect switch on over to the U.S. Men's National Team Corner. We will get into some Chelsea talk a little bit later in this U.S. Men's National Team Corner. Just remember that little Easter egg there. But we'll start with none other than Tim Weah, as Mike's wearing his Juventus jersey. I'm wearing the U.S. We cover both sides of Tim Weah here. He got a goal, his first Serie A goal against Como, Cesc Fabregas's side in the first game of the season.
Oh my God. What is
full
my
jersey
Holy
reveal. All right.
Tim
Oh, it is a Tim Weah jersey.
Started getting naked on screen. That's crazy.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched the whole half that he was in, and he looked a little nervous. His touch was a little shaky, and then he pulls his hamstring a bit. And I'm like, well, motherfucker, he's had a not good half, and now he's injured. And then he just smacks one in with his left foot, bar down for the goal, and it's like, fuck, positive performance now. He's scored a goal. But unfortunately, he did pull that hamstring, and they're going to be doing more testing in 10 days, but they have already ruled him out for this international break, so he will miss out on September camp. So Mr. Red Card that got Greg Berhalter gone will not come in for the first camp under Pochettino, potentially. We do, though, have some news on our October camp, which he may be able to be back for. We will be playing in Chivas Stadium, Estadio Akron, in Mexico for the October camp. So we're not playing at the U.S. for once. And it's the home of Chivas. Chivas, the home of Cade Cowell, our player of the month for July in Liga MX. Our mulleted man is really killing it down there. It has not necessarily killed it so far this season because it's been, or this month because it's been the Leagues Cup. Shout out Liga MX not having a single team in the semifinals. But he was murdering it there in July. The U.S. playing here in Mexico, probably the toughest test we can get in terms of what's available because South America is playing qualifiers and Europe's playing Nations League. So you're going to have to stick to CONCACAF. Play in Mexico, get that tough environment. That could be Pochettino's first or second game in charge because he may be coming in for that October camp as the actual coach.
Who else will play in October? Do we know?
Panama. A revenge match. Yeah. It will be a revenge match of the Tim Weah red card game there, which could be Tim Weah's return to the national team as well as Mauricio Pochettino's first game.
Watch along?
He's going to get another red, bro.
We might have to do a live watch along for that one. But Doug McIntyre putting some mystery into that appointment for Mauricio Pochettino. He said the signing could be revealed as early as Tuesday. That is today, the day we're recording. Has not happened yet, so we're imagining it's not happening now. But as late as early next week to late this week, so it is an imminent announcement. They're just working out those final details. I guess Chelsea, like we said, a little Easter egg. Chelsea is trying to find some type of agreement to not pay so much because they want that off their wage bill for their FIFA financial fair play and see how much that the U.S. will take up. And that Chelsea brought up the idea of a sponsor, like the Canadian national team is doing to pay some of the wages, not U.S. soccer. So I'm not exactly sure what Todd Bowley's doing, but I'm wondering if at any point Todd Bowley said, hey, you know what, U.S. soccer, you should reach out to Mauricio Pochettino. I'll give him a glowing review, and maybe you end up taking some of that salary away from our books. Who knows? But Pochettino could be finalized very soon, and that does leave the possibility open, says Doug McIntyre, that he could be on the sidelines for that September camp, although Mikey Varas is right now the likelihood to be on the sidelines, our U20 coach. He says the possibility has been left open. If it does get concluded soon, they would have a news conference or a press conference announcing him in New York City the week of the 24th, and then he could absolutely be on the sideline. What is confirmed is that he very much so will be in Kansas City, at least from the box. So maybe something that Emma Hayes did when she started, where he's not actually on the sideline coaching, but getting a good look at them and kind of putting his imprint on it from afar. But boys, if it is concluded, I still just don't get any bit of the logic that he would not be on the sideline. I understand you have to bring in your assistants, you have to scout the team and get the tactics by, but 11 camps before the World Cup. Why would we waste this one on a U20 coach and not have Pochettino if he is hired, which he should be within the week here? Nick?
Let's say he's hired by Friday. That leaves him 15 days until that game, right? That's the next, or is that a little bit off? Somewhere around there. I don't really, no, I think it's a little bit more, but something like that. It's not a lot of time. I get it. The camp will be before that game, right? So they'll be probably September 2nd, 3rd when they start getting to camp and stuff. I get it. I can see it. It is a waste. It's a huge waste. You nailed it. We're running low on time. But hopefully just his presence and getting to know the players is a good enough start. You know, there's probably some things that he's going to want to like align with this U20 coach. I already forget his name, but
Mikey Varas.
Yeah, Mikey Varas. I don't like it, but I do understand it. It's really just not a lot of time.
Mike, not a lot of time, but is it, 10 camps, is that even enough time? You want to just get as much as possible. I don't know if 10 is enough. I don't know if 11 really is enough time to really get everything he wants across. But if you're giving up one, he might be from the press conference, but does he not need to get in there and start teaching them what his system is going to be ASAP?
ASAP. There's no reason for him not to go. The games mean nothing. Getting a win means nothing. He needs to be there and start having his influence on this team as soon as possible.
Yeah. He will be in the stands, they said, observing, but it seems like Mikey Varas has already sent out the preliminary report about who's coming into camp, so he may be kind of having a Foster roster situation where he's not the one choosing it, but he's the one taking it in. Might honestly be easier for him that he doesn't have to go through the entire pool and choose who he wants. He just gets to take over and say, hey, here's my system. Let's start learning it and meet those players. We will see what happens. Should be within the week here, so you guys will know shortly. Make sure to stay tuned. Follow our Twitter, our Instagram, everything. We'll have all that out on the socials. If it is announced, we'll get you all the latest rumors and news there. Boys, let's close out with our Lock of the Week competition here. Palmer, if you can pull the scoreboard up, we all start off the season with 1 point. Mike chose Liverpool over Ipswich, narrowly misses out, going 3-0. He chose 3-0. It was 2-0. Nick with an ambitious 3-0 over Wolves, narrowly misses out with the 2-0. And then, boy, by the skin of my teeth, Newcastle get the win with a man down versus Southampton 1-0. I predicted 3-1, so maybe not so many goals. That red card really stood in the way there. Mike, week 2, what do you got here to potentially get a little two-pointer and get a lead here?
Riding with Liverpool once again against the Bees, Brentford. 2-1 Liverpool.
All right, Mike is riding with Liverpool once again. Nick, who are you riding with week 2?
I'm sticking with the Gunners, bro. I was trying to pick against Everton. They're last in the league. We made a rule, so we're not gonna be able to pick against anyone in the bottom 3 throughout the season. I'm going with the Gunners. 3-2 over Villa.
All right.
Damn, 3-2.
3-2. That'll be a hell of a game. That is a banger of a match right there.
I hope it is.
I have also chosen the same team. I've gone with Newcastle. They're going up against the Cherries, Bournemouth. I think it's going to be a 2-0 game here. I don't think that Bournemouth necessarily looked too amazing in their opener. Newcastle, we're down to 10 men and still beat Southampton. I'd imagine they want to come out and show up a little bit better than a 10-man display. So 2-0 here. We'll see what happens. We've all chosen the same teams to win and see if they can deliver the points once again. Mike, big week ahead. A lot of interesting matchups here. What are you wanting to leave our viewers with?
Yeah, a lot of big matches. Everton needs a turnaround here. result would be nice. A point on the board. We'll see if we can muster that. Barcelona playing Athletic Club de Bilbao this weekend. Big matchup against their Nico Williams, the one they want, their suitor.
Right.
But the biggest matchup was today. Fluminense, Thiago Silva, John Arias, Nick's compatriot. Thiago Silva scored a big boy goal to move on in Copa Libertadores to the quarterfinals. Shout out the old guard.
All right. Nick, any 40-year-old center backs you want to shout out as well?
Listen, Tim Ream recently signed for
Hell yeah.
soon to be joined by Garnacho. Listen, I think that it's weird kind of having such a big game early in the season, but this is a huge one. We did not win. We didn't get a point out of Villa last year. This is a huge game as we look for the title run in. Week 2, those points matter just as much as the ones in week 37. So we need a big result here. I'm backing the boys to get it done. Bukayo Saka back on the score sheet, calling my shot.
All right.
Star boy.
Goal, hat trick for Saka?
Everything. He's gonna score all 5. He's gonna score 2 own goals in the first minute and then get 3 redemption goals.
Wow.
Hell of a match.
That will be a hell of a match. I'll close it out with a shout out to CBS. They'll be broadcasting the first Serie A match on their main channel, CBS. It'll be Milan versus Parma. So make sure to keep an eye on that this weekend. The beautiful game is growing here in America, and the beautiful game is growing here on Footy with the Boys. So make sure you subscribe, like, and make sure to comment what you want to see more out of the channel. We would love to do what you guys want. Until next time, peace.